Okay, now after having now the woman with whom the marriage was forbidden and the woman with whom the marriage is lawful. Okay, so now we are going to explain you how must the marriage be made in Islam. How must you make your marriage in Islam. Okay, so here it's a question of step. If you want to make your marriage in Islam, for example, okay, and after having known that the woman you must marry and the woman you mustn't marry, okay, we determined you in the first time the women who were forbidden for you. After this, we told you about the women who were allowed for you. So if you are believing man here, I told you last time, I informed you last time about how to become Muslim, and after having entered in Islam, after having been a believing, okay, I told you last time that you weren't born Muslim, but you must become Muslim, and I determined this, I proved it from the verses from the Quran, chapter number 76, verse number 1 to 3, and chapter number 90, verse number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I said you last time that you weren't born Muslim, but you must become Muslim. And I said you last time that if you wanted to become Muslim, I told you that you have to believe in God. You have to believe in His angels. You have to believe in His creatures. You have to believe in His meeting. You have to believe in His prophets. You have to believe in the resurrection. And this is exactly what God says in chapter number 2, verse number 177. You have to believe in God. You have to believe in the last day, the angels, the scripture, and the prophets. And after having believed in all these pillars, you must go to see the person, a Muslim, and you will say to him, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. It means that I testify that there isn't any other God than God, and I testify that Muhammad is His prophet. So here we say that you have entered in Islam. We say that you have become now a Muslim. And I told you last time about the 6 pledges also. You might take pledge in this place by saying that I swear that I will not associate anything with God, nor I will not steal, I will not commit adultery, I will not kill my children, I will not commit perjury as to parenthood, I will not disobey in anything which is righteous. Okay, and I told you last time that the 6 pledges were also compulsory for you. Chapter number 17, verse number 34. Chapter number 17, verse number 34. Chapter number 60, verse number 20. Okay, chapter number 17, verse number 34, and chapter number 60, verse number 20. Okay, after having been like this, we say that you are now a believer, you are now a Muslim, you are now a believing man. And God says here that if you want to marry now, if you want to get married, so it is a question of step. It is a question of step. Okay? It's a question of step here. You want, for example, you are Mr. John. You are Mr. John. You want to marry yourself. You want to get married. The first thing here, and the first step here, you must be a believing man first. You have to be a believer. After having been a believer, so God says here that if you want to marry, so you have to look for women who are permitted for you. You mustn't marry any woman who is forbidden for you. This marriage is not lawful. And I said you, I informed you, I made you aware of women with whom the marriage was allowed. And I told you that it was only the believing women and the women from the people who were given the scriptures before us. And if you marry another woman who is not among these two kinds of women, so you have to know that this is not marriage, but this is adultery. Okay? You are Mr. John. you want to get married. For example, Miss Isabel. Miss Isabel, the daughter of Mr. the daughter of Mr. Jean. The daughter of Mr. Jean. You are Mr. John. You want to marry the daughter of Mr. John. Okay. The condition here, before asking her in marriage, so you have to know that if she is a believing woman or not. You mustn't marry her unless we have known that she is believing woman. Okay? Before marrying her, you have to know first if she is believing woman. And if you see that she is not believing woman, you mustn't marry her. If you see that she is idolatrous, you mustn't marry her. If you see that she is disbeliever, you mustn't marry her. If you see that she is adulteress, you mustn't marry her. If you see that she is hypocrite, you mustn't marry her. Only if she is believing woman. If she is believing woman, and if you see that she is a believing woman, and you want to marry her, she is the daughter of Mr. John. So here, the engagement, the first time here, or the first step here is the engagement. The engagement. You are going to engage her. Okay? She will be engaged by you. Or you want to marry her. Before marrying her, it is the step here of engagement. You must engage her. You must engage her. And you will be to Mr. John. You are going to see Mr. John, for example. And when you will be with Mr. John, if you like, you can marry yourself. You can go yourself. And if you like also, you can account. You can account another person, or you can pay somebody, your friend, for example. But if I say your friend, it doesn't concern here. It doesn't mean here that disbeliever friends, because you mustn't different people who are not friends of God. You mustn't different people who are not believers. Okay, and you can send here your friend, for example, to ask her for you. This is lawful. This is allowed. This is permitted. Either you yourself, you are going to move, you are going to ask her, or you can send your friend, one of your friends, to seek her for you, Okay, and if you yourself you move, and you are here with Mr. John, and you want to ask her daughter in marriage, for marriage. So here you are here. You ask Mr. John, you are with Mr. John here, and you say to Mr. John, good morning or good afternoon first. So I'm here this morning in order to ask your daughter, Miss Isabel, in marriage. I want your daughter, Mr. or Miss Isabel, in marriage, Mr. John. Okay? You ask, or you say this to Mr. John. You say this to Mr. John. Mr. John, who is here the father of this daughter. Okay? The father of this girl. And here, if you say this to Mr. John, it is the engagement here. And Mr. John, the prophet said that إذا جاءكم من ترضون خلقه ودينه فانكحوه فإن لم تفعلوا يكون فتنة وفساد في الأرض. إذا جاءكم من ترضون خلقه ودينه فانكحوه فإن لم تفعلوا يكون فتنة وفساد في الأرض. The prophet says here that you who are the father of the daughter here, you who are Mr. John, if Mr. John comes to you asking your daughter for marriage, so you have to look for two conditions before giving your daughter in marriage for marriage. You have to look for two conditions to Mr. or to Mr. John. Okay, if Mr. John comes, when Mr. John comes to you asking your daughter in marriage, so you have to look for two conditions. The first, the prophet says that you have to look for his religion. You have to look for his religion. If he is believing man, or if he is Muslim, if he is believer. The Prophet says that this is the first condition. You mustn't give your daughter to somebody in marriage if this one is not Muslim. If you know that he is not Muslim, so you mustn't give your daughter to him in marriage. Okay, this is the first condition. You, Mr. John, you must seek for this condition. Okay, and the second condition, the Prophet says that if he is a well-behaved person, if he is a good person, if he is a just person, he is a fair person. For example, the second condition is if he is a well-behaved person. If he is a well-behaved person. If he is a well-behaved person. Okay? It means here that he's not a murderer, he's not a bad man, he's not a bad behaved person, but he's just, he's fair, he's a good man. Okay? These are the two conditions you must see or you must look for when someone comes to you asking your daughter in marriage. After this, if you realize that the conditions are to this man or are with this man, okay, he has these conditions, so you yourself, you must accept. You must accept yourself. You must accept his engagement. Okay, and if you accept his engagement, you must. This is what the Prophet says also. لا تنكح الأيام حتى تستعمل ولا تنكح البكر حتى تستأذن. لا تنكح الأيام حتى تستعمل ولا تنكح البكر حتى تستأذن. This is what the Prophet says, that you mustn't marry, or we can't marry the girl, the wife, if she's not, or if she doesn't agree. Before marrying or before giving her in marriage, she must agree first. And you, Mr. John, you have to ask Miss Isabel if she likes or she loves Mr. John in marriage, for marriage. Okay, you mustn't accept by giving her like this, but you have to first, you have to look for her agreement. You have to look for her agreement. Here, you will ask her, Mr. John or Miss Isabel, Mr. John came here asking you for marriage. Do you love him or not? Do you love him or not? And if she says that, yeah, I love him, so it is okay. And if she says that, no, I don't love him, so this marriage is cancelled. You mustn't continue the step here. It is finished for the marriage. It is finished. It is already finished for the marriage. Okay? And if you ask her, but she didn't say okay or yes, but she didn't say no, she stopped. You asked her, but she stopped. She didn't say anything. The Prophet says here, Somatuha is Nuha. And if you see that she doesn't say anything, it means that she agrees. It means that she agrees. Okay? If she doesn't say anything, it means here that she agrees. It means here that she agrees. Okay? If she says no, it is finished. If she says yes, you can continue. But if she stops, it means that she agrees. You can continue also. Okay? In this moment, we say that she agrees. She agrees. And this is the moment of the engagement. This is the moment of the engagement. Okay? This is the moment of the engagement. And if she agrees here, so it is okay for the engagement. Okay? And if you wanted to call, for example, you wanted to call some of your friends also, you who are the father of the daughter here. Okay? And this engagement here is okay. It is okay for the engagement. Okay? You agree, and the daughter agrees, and Mr. John agrees also. It means that you are Mr. John. You accepted the engagement, and Miss Isabel accepted the engagement, and Mr. John also is agree. Mr. John is agree also. So here it is finished for the wedding. It is finished for the engagement. But Miss Isabel here is not allowed for Mr. John first. She is not allowed for Mr. John. And it is two hypotheses here. There are two hypotheses here. Either Mr. John married her simultaneously at the same time or at the same place. Okay? At the same place. Or he left her after. She has here or he has the choice here. Either he married her in place, or he left her for after. But in the moment during the engagement, there is the permission for Mr. John. When Miss Isabel agreed, or when she agreed for the marriage, so Mr. John is allowed to do something to Mr. or to Miss Isabel. She is or he is allowed here to do something. The Islamic law makes him here a permission. And what is this permission? After Mr. Isabel having agreed. So here Mr. John is allowed to look at her. Okay? He is allowed to look at her in the same place. After having agreed for the marriage, so Mr. John here can look at her. Okay? And she will come, for example, with Mr. John, and Mr. John will look at her. Okay? And the parts which are allowed for Mr. John to be seen are only the face and the hands. Okay? There are only the face and the hands. Okay? Her face here, and her hands. Mr. John is going to look at her here and here in order to know if she is beautiful, in order to know if she is not a blonde woman, or and so on and so on. Okay? And this birthday, Miss Isabel is going also to look at Mr. John in order to know also if he is beautiful, or if he is like this, he is like this, he is like this. And after this, we say that the agreement is here and the engagement is okay. The engagement is okay. Everybody agrees here. Okay? This is the step. This is the moment of the engagement. After this moment also, now there are two hypotheses here. Either you marry her in place, or you marry her after. Either you marry her in place or you marry her after. Okay? So there are the two hypotheses here. Okay? So I'm going first to give you the conditions of the marriage. The conditions of the marriage. If you want to marry her in place, or you want to marry her after a week, after 2 weeks, after a month, so I'm going to give you now the conditions of the marriage. There are 4 conditions. The Islamic wedding must have 4 conditions. The 4 conditions are compulsory for any marriage in Islam. If one of the conditions lacks, or if one of the conditions is absent, so this marriage is not Islamic wedding. This marriage is not Islamic wedding. So that the marriage may be Islamic wedding, so there are 4 conditions. The 4 conditions must be respected by the spouses. Okay? One condition comes first before the 4 conditions. The first condition here is the religion. The religion. Okay? The wife must be here a believing wife or a believing woman, and the man here must be a believing man. Okay? With the women except the Christians and the Jews, people of the scriptures, people who were given the scriptures before us. Okay? So after this, there are 4 conditions. The first condition is the agreement of the wife. The agreement of the wife, or the acceptation of the wife for the marriage. Okay? If the girl doesn't accept, so we mustn't force her. We mustn't oblige her to go to marriage for marriage. This is the first condition, the acceptation of the wife. The second, the representation. Okay? Or there must be someone here. There must be someone here who is the representative of this wife. For example, her father, her brother, someone else who is here, who can be here as, we can be considered here as her representative. Okay, someone here has like, or has his mother, her father, her mother, her brother, someone else. It means that the marriage will not be lawful between you and the wife only without the presence of someone else. Okay, and this one is the second condition here. The third condition is the dowry. The dowry. The dowry. It means that the Islamic wedding is not lawful. The marriage is not lawful if there isn't any dowry. The dowry, the presence of the dowry is obligatory, is compulsory. After the dowry, the witnesses, two witnesses, the agreement of the wife, the representative, the dowry, and the two witnesses. These are the four conditions of the Islamic wedding. Okay, it means that the marriage must have all these conditions so that it could be a believing, or it could be an Islamic wedding. Okay, so here, if you want to marry her in place, you want to marry her when you ask her for engagement or during the engagement, so you have to call. You have to call two witnesses. You are Mr. John. When you will want to marry her in place, so you must be accompanied by two witnesses. You must be accompanied by two witnesses. You must be accompanied by two witnesses. Okay? And if I say here two witnesses, there are Muslims, just persons, right persons, and persons who are well behaved. Just a person, two just person has witnesses. And the two witnesses are going to witness the marriage. They are going to witness the marriage between you and Miss Isabel. Okay? After this, you are accompanied by the two witnesses, and in the home, in the house of Mr. Isabel, Mr. John is here. Mr. Jean is here, who is the father of the daughter of the girl. Okay? And Miss Isabel here. So Mr. John here can, if he wants, he can call some of the members of the family, for example, the brothers of Miss Isabel, or the mother of Miss Isabel, and so on and so on. And this is not compulsory. This is not obligatory. What is obligatory is only the presence of the representative, the father or the brother. Full stop. Okay? But if he wants also to call some of the members of the family, so this is not also forbidden. Okay? This is not forbidden. For example, he can call the brothers of Miss Isabel, so on and so on. Okay? After this, everybody is here now. The two witnesses are here. Mr. John, who is the asker, is here, and Mr. John, who is the father, is here. Miss Isabel, for example, is here, and some other members of the family are here. Okay? So you are Mr. John. You asked Miss Isabel for marriage to Mr. John. Okay? And Mr. John is going now to take the speech, and he will say, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, قد جاءنا فلان طالبا لفلانة للزوج، فقد أخذ يعني أجرناه على ذلك وأعطيناه بكذا وكذا من زكاة، بكذا وكذا من الصدقة على سنة الله ورسوله. wa sallallahu ala Muhammad. And this is not compulsory if you say it in Arabic or you say it. You can say it in any tongue you want. Okay? You are Mr. John, the father. The father will take speech and he will say, for example, Mr. John came up that day to asking Miss Isabel, our daughter, for marriage, and we gave him to, or for 200 dirhams, for example, 200 dirhams. Okay, we gave her for 200 dirhams as dowry. Okay, in the way of God and His Prophet, according to the Islamic way, according to the Islamic path. And you say this, you are Mr. John, the father of the daughter. Okay, and you say this, and you say peace and salute on the Prophet. Okay, you say that we gave our daughter to Mr. John for 200 dirhams of as dowry, in the way of God, according to the Islamic way, in the way of God, in the way of the Prophet. But we don't give her in the way of Satan or in the way of any other way which is not Islamic way. Okay, and you say this, and after you having finished, Mr. John or his witnesses are going to respond now to the offer, to respond to the offer. Okay, and they will say يعني مثلا يقولون مثلا فقد كما تقدم فقد جئناه طالبا لفلان لزوج أو للزفاف فقد أجابنا بكذا وكذا وأخذناها بصداق المذكور على سنة الله أيضا وعلى سنة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وصلى الله على محمد. So here you can say Mr. John or his two witnesses can say here that, so we agree. We are very happy to have been given the wife, so we are happy, and we agree with the dowry. We take her for 200 dirhams in the way of God and in the way of the Prophet. In the way of God and in the way of the Prophet. Okay? And the peace and salute on the Prophet. So here, the marriage is okay. The marriage is okay. The woman agrees. There is represent the dowry and the two witnesses. So here you can take your dua, what we say in Arabic, dua. This is what the Prophet says: إذا تزوج أحدكم امرأة فليأخذها بناصيتها وليدعو ببركة وليستعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. If you marry a woman, okay, you must ask for benedictions, for blessings, okay, you must ask for blessings and so on. Okay, so this place you can read, for example, the first chapter of the Quran. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم at the hand. Okay, so here we say that the marriage is okay. This is if you wanted to make him or to make it in place. But if you say after, if you want to let the marriage after, so here we say that the Islamic law doesn't permit you to let the marriage for a long time, because you have asked the daughter today, you have asked the wife today, and they accept your demand, they accept your request. Okay, but it is not allowed for you now to let her until 3 years after, 5 years after, 10 years after. That's not lawful, and this is not allowed. If you say that you will marry her after, so you have to take only a short moment, a week, 2 weeks, and so on. But you mustn't let her a year, 3 years, like this. This is so much. Okay? So here, if you let her after, and that's okay. That's okay. You can take, for example, a week after. A week after, this is what the Prophet says: ثلاث لا يؤخرون الصلاة إذا أتت والجنازة إذا حضرت والمرأة إذا وجدت لها كتف. The Prophet says that we mustn't wait we mustn't wait in front of three things. The first, the prayer. We mustn't delay the prayer. Okay? If it is time, you have to pray. If it is time, you have to pray. This is the first. The second, if it is someone is died, you mustn't take too much time or too many times here before. After this, the marriage. If you ask a daughter for marriage, and if they give her you, so you mustn't wait for a long time. Okay? So here, if you want to let her after, so this is okay. And when you will want to marry her, this is what the Prophet says: "Rilidhu nikah wadribu alayhi dafuf waj'aluhu fil masajid." Rilidhu nikah waj'aluhu fil masajid wadribu alayhi dafuf. The Prophet says that if you want to marry, for example, if you want to marry, your marriage, it is wishable here, and it is suitable here that your marriage be on in a mosque. Okay? If you want to marry her, it is suitable here, and it is very, very likable and very wishable here that your marriage be on in the mosque. Okay? So you will call the Muslims on like this. It is exactly what I told you last time. The two witnesses, the agreement of the wife and the father or the brothers. Okay? And if you are in the mosque, I'm not speaking about the civil marriage. I'm not speaking about the civil marriage. I'm speaking only about the Islamic marriage. Because we are in the mosques today, but we don't accept God's orders. If God and His Prophet say that to make the marriage in the mosque, so we say that we don't accept this, because we are in a modern time. We like civil marriage, but we don't like Islamic or religious marriage. Okay, we are in the mosques, but we don't accept God's orders. I'm not speaking about that kind of marriage, the marriage which are not for God or according to the Islamic law. Okay, so here you will be in a mosque, for example, and you will make your marriage like this. It is exactly, the father will take speech and he will say that someone has come, or Mr. John came asking Mr. Isabel for marriage, and we give him for 200 grams of half dowry. Okay, and here we see that Mr. John or his witnesses will take speech, and they will say that we agree with the dowry. We agree with the dowry. Okay, and all that things are in the Islamic way, according to the Islamic law, according to the Islamic way, according to the Islamic way, to the Islamic law. Okay, so here you can take also, or you can read the first chapter of the Quran, for example. Okay, and this is the end of the marriage or the wedding in Islam. Okay, this is how must the marriage be made in Islam. Okay, and the question is where now we don't accept this, because this is not civilized. This is not civilized, and we want marriage which are civil marriage. We want marriage which are civil or civilized marriage, but Islamic marriage is not civilized. But we are in the mosques. Okay, everybody will find God in the hereafter, and everybody will be rewarded by God in the hereafter. It is a serious problem. We are praying today, we are in the mosques, but we don't accept God's order We don't accept the brothers others. We don't do our works according to the Islamic laws. But we are calling ourselves Muslims. Imagine. It is true. This is true. And you have to know that if God says you to make your marriage like this, and if you don't do your marriage like this, if you don't make your marriage like this, you have to know that you are committing adultery. This is not marriage. This is not marriage for God. If God says that you mustn't marry this woman, for example, the idolatress, for example, the adulteress, you know that this one is adulteress, but you marry her. You marry her, but God prevented you to marry her, but you refuse and you marry her. And when you will marry her, you have to know that anytime you will have sexual act, sexual act with her, you have to know that all that are sins. You are committing adultery like this. And if God says that you mustn't marry an idolatress, and if you marry idolatress, you have to know that you are committing adultery. And if God says that you mustn't marry disbelievers, and if you marry disbelievers, so you have to know that you are committing adultery. You have committed adultery. Okay? And if God says that you mustn't marry hypocrites, and if you marry hypocrites, you have to know that you are committing adultery. Okay? And this is the serious problem of today. We are in the mosques, but we don't accept God and His prophets others. Okay? And God says in chapter number 3, verse number 32. In chapter number 3, verse number 32, God says that في سورة آل عمران آية الثالثة آية الثانية والثلاثون من قوله تعالى قل أطيعوا الله ورسوله فإن تولوا فإن الله لا يحب الكافرين. God says that say, obey God and the messenger, but if they turn away, God does not love disbelievers. It means that if you don't accept what God and His prophet say you, if you don't accept this, all you will do after, God says that He doesn't love disbelievers. You have to accept what God and His prophet say you. And if you see that you are not able to do it, so you have to go. There is no force in Islam. If you see that you are not able to accept what God and His prophet say you, so you have to go. There is no force. You are not forced. Okay? So this was about the wedding. This was about the wedding. And we thank you very much. And I summarize, the conditions of the marriage are very important. They are very important because, for example, the first condition, acceptation or the agreement of the wife. But before this condition, it is the condition of the religion first. The wife you want to marry must be a believing woman. There mustn't be a disbeliever. There mustn't be an idolatress. There mustn't be an adulteress. There mustn't be an hypocrite. This is the first condition. The condition before the first. And the first now is the agreement of this wife. The second, the represent. The third is the dowry. And the first is the two witnesses. Okay? So we thank you very much to have followed it. I summarize by saying that you are listening to your brother in Islam. You are listening to your brother in Islam, Mr. BERTHE Isiaka. Mr. BERTHE Isiaka, coming from the Republic of Mali. The region of Sikasso, the third region of Mali, a village Klela, far from Sikasso, of 45 kilometers between Sikasso and Kuchala. Okay, so we thank you very much to have followed it, and we promise you to be with you next time. You are listening to the student who has not learned the religion by a teacher. I haven't learned the religion by a teacher. You are listening to the ambassador of the divine kingdom on earth. We thank you very much, and we promise you to be with you next time. We are looking forward to being with you. May God protect us. May God help us. May God give us. Thank you very much. And for next time, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم ملك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. اللهم نشكرك على ما نصرتنا إن شاء الله.